20 engineers sat in a glass-walled conference room on the 9th floor of Helix Systems, every one of them staring at the same error message that had been burning on the projection screen for 11 days straight. The contract was worth $47 million. The client had given them until Friday. It was Thursday. Then the door opened and Marcus Webb walked in with a mop bucket. He wore the gray uniform with the Helix Janitor patch on the shoulder. Behind him, moving carefully across the polished floor, was a 7-year-old girl clutching a stuffed penguin named Bolt. The lead engineer looked up. Someone laughed. Someone else said it looked like bring your kid to work day at the wrong company. 6 minutes later, Marcus had written 4 lines of code on a napkin, the system rebooted without error, and the entire engineering department went silent. Stay with this one. What happened in that conference room would rewrite every assumption those engineers had made about who belonged in the building. The meeting had started at 2 in the afternoon. Marcus had been scheduled to clean the executive floor at 3, but the building manager called him up early. One of the conference rooms needed a spill mopped before the client Zoom call at 4. Marcus did not argue. He buttoned his daughter's coat, picked up the mop bucket, and took the service elevator. The engineers did not look at him when he came in. They were bent over laptops, rerunning diagnostics, pulling up logs that all said the same thing. System failure at authentication handshake. No root cause identified. The client system refused to talk to the Helix platform and no one could figure out why. Marcus set the bucket down near the corner. His daughter sat on the floor beside it, arranging Bolt on her lap. She was quiet. She had been coming to work with him every Thursday for 6 months, ever since the school changed her aftercare schedule. She knew not to speak unless someone spoke to her first. Marcus began mopping. He moved in straight lines, working from the door toward the window. The engineers kept talking. One of them was on his 4th Red Bull. Another had been awake for 31 hours. The lead engineer, a woman named Dr. Ria Castellanos, was pacing near the whiteboard with her arms folded. She had a PhD from Stanford and 16 years of experience in distributed systems. She did not know why the code was failing. Marcus mopped past the projection screen. He glanced at it once. Then he glanced again. He did not stop mopping. At 2:47, Dr. Castellanos turned to the team and said they were going to have to call the client and ask for an extension. No one responded. Everyone knew what that meant. Helix had promised a working prototype by end of week. If they missed the deadline, the client would pull the contract and go with the competitor in Austin. $47 million would walk. Marcus finished mopping the spill. He wrung out the mop head and set it back in the bucket. His daughter looked up at him. He gave her a small nod. She held Bolt a little tighter. Then Marcus did something he had not done in 3 years. He spoke in a room full of people who did not know his name. It's the token expiration window. The room did not go silent all at once. It took a few seconds. One engineer looked up, then another. Dr. Castellanos turned around. I'm sorry, what? Marcus set the mop against the wall. He walked to the whiteboard. He did not ask permission. He picked up a dry erase marker and wrote 4 lines. Auth token lifetime, 3600 client to offset tolerance, 300 handshake, retry delay 350. He circled the 3rd line. Your retry delay is longer than the offset tolerance. The token expires before the retry completes. The client thinks you're replaying an old session. Dr. Castellanos stared at the board. She stared at Marcus. She pulled her laptop over and ran the number. 300 seconds. 350 seconds. She ran it again. The error disappeared. The system authenticated. The green checkmark appeared in the top right corner of the screen. The client system and the Helix platform shook hands, synchronized, and held. Someone said, "Oh my God." Someone else said, "How did you—" Dr. Castellanos did not say anything. She was looking at Marcus like she had just watched him pull a coin from behind the sun. Marcus capped the marker. He set it back on the tray. He turned and walked back to his mop bucket. His daughter stood up. She tucked Bolt under one arm and took her father's hand. "Thank you," Dr. Castellanos said. Marcus nodded once. He picked up the bucket. He left the room. The door closed behind him. The engineer sat in silence. Then one of them opened LinkedIn on his phone. Then another. By the time Marcus reached the service elevator, 6 people in that room were searching his name. What they found would turn the next 72 hours into something none of them had prepared for. Marcus Webb lived in a 1-bedroom apartment on the east side of the city, 14 minutes by bus from Helix Systems. His daughter slept in the bedroom. He slept on the couch. The apartment smelled like soap and toast and the faint mechanical warmth of a space heater that ran all winter. There was a drawing of a penguin taped to the refrigerator. His daughter had made it 3 weeks after his wife died. Her name had been Sarah. She had been a middle school art teacher. She died in a car accident on a Thursday afternoon 2 years ago, coming home from a parent-teacher conference. Marcus had been at work. Their daughter had been at a friend's house. The police came to the door at 6:30. Marcus opened it holding a dish towel. They told him she was gone. He did not go back to work for 2 months. When he did, he went back to a different job. He had been the lead systems architect at a defense contractor in Virginia. He had designed authentication protocols for classified communication networks. He had clearance levels most engineers never saw. But the job required travel. It required long hours. It required a life he could no longer give. So he resigned. He moved across the country. He took the first job that let him set his own schedule and be home by 4 every day. That job was janitorial work at Helix Systems. No one at Helix knew what he used to do. His resume said he had a high school diploma and 3 years of facilities experience. That was all they needed to know. He mopped floors. He emptied trash. He kept his head down. He picked up his daughter from school every afternoon at 3:45. The stuffed penguin had been Sarah's last gift to their daughter. She had given it to her the morning of the accident. She told her its name was Bolt because penguins are faster underwater than anyone expects. Their daughter had not let go of it since. Marcus did not talk about his wife often. But sometimes, late at night, when his daughter was asleep and the apartment was quiet, he would open the closet and take out the leather notebook Sarah used to sketch in. He would sit on the couch and turn the pages. Birds, trees, their daughter's face at 4 years old. He would close the book. He would put it back. He would make coffee and wait for morning. On Friday, Marcus arrived at Helix at 7 in the morning like he always did. He cleaned the third-floor break room. He restocked paper towels in the executive bathrooms. He emptied the trash in the lobby. At 9:15, his supervisor called him into the manager's office. Sitting across from the manager was Dr. Ria Castellanos and a man Marcus had never seen before. The man wore a tailored suit and a Patek Philippe watch. His name was Dominic Cross. He was the chief operating officer. Dominic did not stand when Marcus came in. He gestured to the chair. "Sit." Marcus sat. His daughter was at school. Bolt was in her backpack. "We need to talk about what happened yesterday," Dominic said. Dr. Castellanos opened her laptop. She turned it so Marcus could see the screen. It was his LinkedIn profile. The one he had deleted 2 years ago. Someone had found a cached version. Education, BS Computer Science, magna cum laude. MS Distributed Systems, MIT. Employment, Lead Systems Architect, Northrop Grumman. Security Clearance, TSSCI. Published papers, 4. All peer-reviewed, all in the top-tier journals. Dominic leaned back. "You want to tell me why a guy with an MIT degree and a top-secret clearance is mopping floors?" Marcus did not answer. "I'll tell you what I think," Dominic said. "I think you're running from something. I think you lied on your application. I think you've been lying the whole time." Dr. Castellanos shifted in her seat. She looked uncomfortable. "Dominic, he solved the problem. We shipped the prototype this morning. The client signed off." Dominic held up one hand. "I don't care if he solved it by prayer. He lied. That's grounds for termination." Marcus sat very still. He did not look at Dominic. He looked at the corner of the desk where a coffee ring had dried into the wood. "I didn't lie," Marcus said. "I didn't put my degrees on the application because you didn't ask for them. You asked if I had janitorial experience. I did. You asked if I could work evenings. I could." "That's not how disclosure works," Dominic said. "That's exactly how it works," Marcus said. The room went quiet, not the quiet of nothing happening, the quiet of a room where someone just said something true and no one wanted to admit it. Dr. Castellanos closed her laptop. "Dominic, I think we should consider offering him a position in engineering. He clearly has the qualifications." "Absolutely not," Dominic said. "This is a liability issue. We can't have people working under false pretenses. It sets a precedent." Marcus stood. He did not wait to be dismissed. "Am I fired?" Dominic smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of a man who had already decided the ending. "We'll let you know by Monday." Marcus left the office. He went back to the supply closet. He put his hands on the edge of the sink and breathed. His phone buzzed. It was the school. His daughter had forgotten her lunchbox. He told them he would bring it. He did not know it yet, but in the conference room he had just left, Dr. Castellanos was opening her email and typing a message to the CEO. Her name was Elena Voss. She was 32 years old. She had been CEO of Helix Systems for 11 months. The board had hired her after the previous CEO retired, and they had made it very clear she was on probation. Deliver results or step aside? Elena read Dr. Castellanos' email twice. Then she called Dominic into her office. "Tell me you didn't threaten to fire the janitor who saved the Atlas contract." Dominic sat down. He crossed one leg over the other. "I'm protecting the company. The man lied on his application." "He didn't lie. He just didn't volunteer his whole resume." "That's semantics." "No," Elena said. "That's called humility. And apparently we don't recognize it when we see it." Dominic leaned forward. Elena, you're 3/4 away from a board review. You don't have the capital to fight me on this. Elena set her pen down. She looked at him for a long time. Get out. Dominic left. Elena sat alone in her office and pulled up Marcus Webb's employee file. She read it 3 times. Then she opened her calendar and cleared Monday morning. On Monday, Marcus arrived at Helix at 7. He cleaned the lobby. He emptied the 3rd floor trash. At 9:00, his supervisor told him the CEO wanted to see him. Marcus took the elevator to the 10th floor. His daughter was at school. Bolt was with her. Elena Voss's office had floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the city that made the buildings look like toys. She was standing by the window when Marcus came in. She turned. Sit. Marcus sat. Elena sat across from him. She folded her hands on the desk. I owe you an apology. What Dominic said on Friday was wrong. You didn't lie. You answered the questions we asked. That's on us, not you. Marcus did not say anything. I want to offer you a position in engineering. Senior systems architect, salary commensurate with your experience. Full benefits. You'd report directly to Dr. Castellanos. Marcus looked at her. Then he looked at the window. I can't. Elena blinked. I'm sorry? I took this job because it ends at 4. I pick up my daughter at 3:45 every day. I make her dinner. I help with homework. I put her to bed. That's the job I need. Elena was quiet. She had not expected this. We can make the hours flexible. You can work from home 2 days a week. You can... No, the word was soft. It was final. Elena sat back. She was beginning to understand something she had not understood before. This was not about money. It was not about pride. It was about a man who had reorganized his entire life around a 7-year-old girl and a stuffed penguin, and he was not going to reorganize it again. What if I told you Dominic has been taking credit for work he didn't do? Marcus looked at her. Elena opened a folder. She slid a document across the desk. It was an internal report from 8 months ago. The signature at the bottom said Dominic Cross. The content described a system optimization that had saved Helix $2 million in server costs. Ria ran the metadata on the original file. It was created on a Saturday at 11 p.m. Dominic doesn't work Saturdays, but you do. You were cleaning the engineering floor that night. Marcus looked at the document. He recognized the logic. He had written those recommendations on a post-it note and left it on Dr. Castellanos' desk because the wasteful config setting had been bothering him for weeks. He took your work. He's been doing it for months. Every time you leave a note, every time you fix something quietly, he's been putting his name on it. Marcus pushed the document back across the desk. I don't care. You should. Why? Elena did not have an answer. Marcus stood. If that's all, I need to restock the 4th floor. He walked to the door. He put his hand on the handle. My daughter asked me last week if I was important. Elena looked up. I told her I mop floors and that's important because clean floors keep people safe. She said okay. She believed me. That's all I need her to believe. He opened the door. He left. Elena sat alone in her office. She looked at the document. She looked at the door. Then she picked up her phone and called her assistant. Get me everything Dominic Cross has signed off on in the last year. I want the original files, the timestamps, and the metadata. It took 3 days. On Thursday, Elena called an all-hands meeting. The entire company gathered in the atrium. 214 employees. Marcus was mopping the 2nd floor walkway when the announcement came over the intercom. He stopped. He leaned the mop against the wall. His daughter was at school. Bolt was in her backpack. Elena stood on the platform. Dominic stood beside her. He looked calm. He looked confident. Elena opened a folder. 8 months ago, Helix implemented a server optimization that saved this company $2 million. Dominic Cross took credit for that work. He did not do it. The atrium went silent. 4 months ago, we fixed a client-facing API bug that had been breaking integrations for 6 weeks. Dominic's name is on the commit. He did not write the fix. Dominic's face did not change. Last week, we saved a $47 million contract because someone in this building saw a problem 20 engineers missed. That someone was not on the engineering team. That someone was Marcus Webb, and he saw it while mopping the floor. People turned. They looked for Marcus. He was standing on the walkway above them, holding a mop, perfectly still. Elena looked up at him. Marcus, would you come down here? Marcus did not move. Please. He set the mop against the wall. He walked down the stairs. The crowd parted. He stopped at the edge of the platform. Elena turned to Dominic. You're fired. Security will escort you out. We're referring this to legal. Dominic opened his mouth. He closed it. 2 security officers stepped forward. He left without a word. Elena turned back to Marcus. I'm offering you the position again. Same terms. Flexible hours. You set your schedule. You pick up your daughter. You're home by 4. And your title will reflect what you actually do here, which is solve problems no one else can see. Marcus looked at her. He looked at the 200 people watching him. I need Thursdays off at 3:30. Done. And I need her to be able to come here after school if I can't get someone to watch her. Done. Marcus was quiet. Then he nodded. The atrium erupted. People clapped. Someone whistled. Dr. Castellanos was crying. Elena stepped down from the platform. She walked over to Marcus. And then she did something no one expected. She knelt. She lowered herself so she was looking up at him. Thank you, she said. For staying. For caring. For being the kind of person who fixes things because they're broken, not because someone's watching. Marcus looked down at her. He did not know what to say. At 3:45 that afternoon, Marcus left Helix and walked to his daughter's school. She ran to him across the playground, Bolt tucked under her arm. She hugged his legs. Did you have a good day? She asked. I did. What happened? He knelt down. He zipped her jacket. I got a new job. Are you still going to pick me up? Every day. She smiled. She took his hand. They walked home. That night, Marcus made pancakes. His daughter sat at the table with Bolt on the chair beside her. She poured syrup in a perfect circle. She looked up at him. Daddy? Yeah? Bolt says you're the smartest person in the world. Marcus flipped the last pancake. He set it on her plate. Bolt's pretty smart himself. She nodded. She took a bite. Marcus sat down across from her. He watched her eat. The drawing of the penguin was still taped to the refrigerator. The apartment still smelled like soap and toast. Outside, the city moved. Inside, everything that mattered was exactly where it needed to be.